we will read the Union and its territory, which is mentioned in Part 1 of Indian Constitution and which covers Article 1 to Article 4. So, Union and its territory mentioned in Part 1 of Indian Constitution covering Article 1 to Article 4. So, let's start with Article 1, which says that India, that is Bharat, shall be a union of states. So, from this article, Article 1, we can understand two things. From the first part, that is India, that is Bharat, from this part we are getting the name of this country, and from the second part, that which says shall be a union of states, from this part we are able to know about the nature of polity, type of polity of India. There was a lot of debate and discussions going on in the Constituent Assembly among the members that what should be the name of this country mentioned in the Constitution. Then there was debate regarding this. Some people suggested the modern name India, some people suggested the traditional name Bharat, some also suggested Bharatvarsh, and many suggestions were there. And finally, two names, the modern name India and the traditional name Bharat, was adopted. That means a mix of modernity and traditional thing was adopted. So now the name of the country is India as well as Bharat, mentioned in Article 1 of Indian Constitution. Now, if you go through the newspaper, then every now and then you will get to see that someone filing PIL and seeking the attention of Supreme Court and asking the Supreme Court to stick to only one name, that is Bharat, the traditional name. But Supreme Court has clarified over the period of year that if someone wants to call this country as only Bharat, then he or she can say it. For that, there is no need to amend the constitution and to amend the name. So if you want to call it only Bharat, you can call it. No one will restrict you. No one will prevent you. So Supreme Court has rejected those PILs which seeks to amend Article 1 and to amend the name of this country to only Bharat. So Supreme Court over the period of years we have seen that have rejected those kind of PILs. So Article 1 talks about the name of the country, and we have two names, India and Bharat. Now the second part says that India, that is Bharat, shall be a union of states. So in the Constituent Assembly, B.R. Ambedkar was asked by the other members of Constituent Assembly that when we are saying that we are union of state, does that mean our constitution is unitary? So Dr. B.R. Ambedkar replied that no, our constitution is federal in structure. So our constitution is not unitary. Our constitution is federal in structure. But we are using the term union of states and we are not preferring the term federation of state because of two reasons. So we are not using federation of state term, but rather we are using union of states term. Although our constitution is federal in character, we are doing so mainly because of two reasons. One reason is that India is not the result of an agreement between the state. So what is the meaning when we say India is not the result of an agreement between the states? For that, let's take the example of United States of America. How United States of America was created. There was 13 British colonies that was present in North America. And then when these 13 British colonies got independence, these 13 British colonies came together and formed United States of America. So these 13 British colonies came together and made an agreement to form United States of America. But India is not formed in this way because the political entity India was already present. Only thing that happened is that the princely states that joined India. So India as an entity was already there. United States of America as an entity was not earlier present. 13 British colonies in North America came together, made an agreement, and they formed United States of America. But India as an entity was already present. Later the princely states joined India. So you cannot say like USA that India is an agreement between the states. No. So India is not the result of an agreement between the states. So that is why we are preferring the term Union of States. And there is also another reason why we are preferring the term Union of States. It also means that the states have no right to secede from the Union. So the two reasons why we are choosing Union of States and we are not choosing Federation of States, because India is not the result of an agreement between the states, and also the states have no right to secede. Because you have to understand, India as an entity was present, and then we have formed several states. This has been done for the convenience of administration. So our federation is an union because this union is indestructible. So this union is indestructible, and the whole country is an integral whole and divided into different states only for the convenience of administration. So Article 1, India, that is Bharat, shall be a union of states. Then Article 1 also talks about first schedule. So Article 1 also states that the states and the territories shall be specified in the first schedule. So Article 1 also talks about that the name and the territories of the states and union territories of India shall be specified in first schedule. So currently India have 28 states and 8 union territories. So the name of 28 states and 8 union territories and the territories of the states and union territories shall be specified in first schedule. Now the question comes, what is a schedule? So schedule is nothing but an explanation to an article. So why this first schedule, or let's say any schedule, is present in an constitution? The reason is purely cosmetic. Why I am saying so is because, let's say for example, instead of mentioning these names and territories of the states and union territories in the first schedule, if the article itself talks about the name and territories, then what will happen? The Article 1 will become very bulky. So it will not be good to see. And that is why it is written that the name and territories of 28 states and 8 union territories is mentioned in first schedule. Otherwise, Article 1 itself will become very bulky. So the names and territories of the 28 states and 8 union territories are mentioned in first schedule. And schedule is the explanation of an article. That means if you go to the first schedule, you will get to see the name and territories of 28 states and 8 union territories that is mentioned in first schedule. So schedule is nothing but explanation of an article. And in the original constitution, we had 8 schedule and currently we have 12 schedule. So over a period of years, 4 schedules have been added in total. That means currently we have 12 schedules. And we will read all those schedules one by one when the time will come. Then Article 1 also talks about the territory of India, which can be classified into 3 categories. The territories of the state, then the union territories, which are mentioned in the first schedule, and then there are such other territories which may be called as acquired territories. So Article 1 is talking about the name of the country, the nature of polity, then it is also talking about the first schedule, then it also talks about the territory of India, which comprises the states, the union territories and acquired territories. Now, if I give you an example of acquired territories, then it will be Pondicherry. Pondicherry earlier was a French settlement, and Pondicherry was handed to India by the French government in 1954. So, in 1954, the French government ceded Pondicherry to India. But then French government took some time to ratify this agreement in their parliament, and they ratified this agreement finally in 1962. So in between this period, 1954 to 1962, in this period, India administered Pondicherry as an acquired territory. Now we'll read Article 2. Article 2 talks about admission or establishment of new states. And this Article 2 of Indian Constitution is giving power to the Parliament, that Parliament can make law, and by that law it can admit into the Union new states, or it can establish new states on such terms and conditions as it thinks fit. So Article 2 is giving power to Parliament, that Parliament can pass law and admit into the Union or establish new states on such terms and conditions as it thinks fit. So the important word here is as it thinks fit. Now let's understand Article 2 with the example of Sikkim. So till 1947, Sikkim was an Indian princely state which was ruled by Chogyal, who was a hereditary monarch. Then in 1947, when India got independence, that time Sikkim became a protectorate of India. That means the government of India assumed the responsibility for the defense, external affairs and communication of Sikkim. Then there was a demand in Sikkim that they wanted greater association with India. And as a result, in 1974, what happened is that Sikkim expressed the desire for greater association with India. And that is why, to fulfill this, the 35th Constitutional Amendment Act 1974 was enacted by the Indian Parliament. And by this amendment, one article 2A was inserted in the Indian Constitution, and one schedule, the 10th schedule, was also added in the Indian Constitution. And this amendment gave Sikkim the status of an associate state. But now the question arises that in Indian Constitution, we have states, we have union territories, and we also can have acquired territories. But from where this concept is coming? This associate state concept is nowhere mentioned in the Indian Constitution. Then how can Sikkim be granted associate stateship by Indian government? Then the reply of Indian government was that look at Article 2. It talks about the admission of any state into the Union by the Parliament on such terms and conditions as it thinks fit. This term was used to give Sikkim the status of associate state. Because Article 2 is giving power to the Parliament, that Parliament can make law and admit into the Union a new state on such terms and conditions as it thinks fit. So as the Parliament thinks that Sikkim should be given associate state status, hence Sikkim was granted associate state status. Because the Constitution is giving power to the Parliament under Article 2 to give this stateship, associate stateship to Sikkim. So this is Article 2 of Indian Constitution. But here I should complete the story. So 1 year later, in 1975, through 36th Constitutional Amendment Act, Sikkim became 22nd state of India, and this Article 2A and 10th schedule both were repealed through 36th Constitutional Amendment Act, and in 1975 Sikkim became 22nd state of India. Now we'll read Article 3, which talks about formation of new states, and it is giving power to the Parliament, and Parliament may by law form new state by separation of territory, and it can also increase the area of any state, it can diminish the area of any state, it can alter the boundaries of any state, and it can also alter the name of any state. So Article 3 is giving power to Parliament, and Parliament may by law can form new states, and this formation of new states can be done by any permutation combination. That means it can be done, the new states can be formed from separation of territory from any state, or by uniting two or more than two states or parts of states, or by uniting any territory to a part of any states. That means by any permutation combination these new states can be formed. Then Parliament may by law can increase or decrease the area of any state, then it can alter the boundaries of states, and then it can alter the name of the states as well. And there is a short form by which you can remember the thing: FIDA, FIDAA, form new states, I, increase area of states, D, diminish area of states, A, alter boundaries of states, A, alter name of states. So FIDAA, FIDA. And one thing I should clear here is that when Article 2 is talking about the formation of new state, that means those states which are not part of India. And when we are talking about formation of new states under Article 3, it is talking about the states which are already in existence. So this is one difference between Article 2 and Article 3. There are some conditions for a bill under Article 3 to be passed. And what are those conditions? Let's discuss. Suppose there is a bill under Article 3 and this bill needs to be passed. So what generally happens is that when a bill is to be tabled in the Parliament, the bill is first cleared by Cabinet. So generally what happens, Cabinet clears a bill. A bill means set of proposals. So when there is a bill to be tabled in the Parliament, the bill is first cleared by Cabinet, and then the bill is introduced in Parliament, Indian Parliament. But the bill under Article 3, there is an exception. And what is that exception? A bill under Article 3, once it is cleared by the Cabinet, then before tabling the bill in the Parliament, the Cabinet should send the bill to President for his or her assent. That means prior recommendation of the President is required, and when the President will give the recommendation, then the Parliament can introduce the bill, then the minister can introduce the bill in the parliament. So a bill under Article 3 can be introduced in the parliament only with the prior recommendation of the president. That means the bill, when cleared by the cabinet, should be sent to the president. President should give his or her assent, and then this bill can be tabled in the parliament. So this is one condition, that is prior recommendation of the president. And there is one condition for the president also. This bill should be sent to the concerned state legislature by the president for expressing its views within a specified time period. So there will be a specific time period, and the state legislature, the concerned state legislature, should give its views. So when the president will get a bill under Article 3, the president has to send the bill to the state legislature, to the concerned state legislature, for its views within a specific time period. So that is another condition. And whatever will be the view of the state legislature, that view, president either can accept that view or president can reject that view. It is totally up to president. So what we can understand from this point is that although the views of state legislature is asked, but whatever is the view of the state legislature, the concerned state legislature, president is not bound to accept that view. That means president can either accept or it can reject the view of state legislature. And hence that is why it is being said that this Article 3 of Indian Constitution clearly defines that Indian Constitution, although it is federal, but it has a unitary bias which can be proved by Article 3, because the central government, that is parliament, by making law can do these things without the concurrence of the state legislative assembly. That means parliament on its own can form new states by bifurcation, trifurcation, or it can increase the area of the state, diminish the area of state, it can alter boundary, it can alter name, even without the permission of the states. Although views are asked, but the views are not, the views whether it will be accepted or not is totally up to the president. That means even without the state legislature's consent, parliament can do all these things. So Article 3 is talking about the unitary bias of Indian Constitution. Recently, Jammu and Kashmir was bifurcated by a bill under Article 3. So that is an example.